Less than 2 years ago, the worst moment of Jarren Duran's professional career happened. Now, over 2.5 months into the 2024 MLB season, Duran is tied for the 8th most valuable player in all of Major League Baseball, trailing only these 7 superstars. In 2022, he got benched for a lack of effort, got into it with fans after a bad play, and struck out over 50% of the time. Now Duran is emerging as a superstar, and not just any superstar, but a superstar that can impact a game with his speed, fielding, and bat. And he has done that in just about every game for the Boston Red Sox in 2024. He's gone from one of the least favorite players on his own franchise to an absolute fan favorite who is a future core piece to a surging roster. The 27-year-old has gone through the lowest lows, including mental health struggles, and is now unlocking new career highs every single day through his dedication and willingness to make adjustments. Let's talk about Jarren Duran's incredible rise to the top.
So upset right now, man. I worked so hard for these tan lines in California, and I'm getting them back already. Talk about my farmer's tan. It's just absolutely terrible. He knows that that's what gets me going, so.
Jarren Duran was drafted in the 7th round of the 2018 draft by the Boston Red Sox out of Long Beach State College at 22 years old. He was drafted as a second baseman who had incredible speed and good defense in the middle infield. He was an okay hitter, but did most of his offensive damage by stealing bases instead of hitting himself. Duran was selected second team all-conference in both 2017 and 2018 as a sophomore and a junior. Throughout his college career, he batted .294 with 49 stolen bases, 10 triples, and a measly 3 home runs. As I said previously, these stats were good enough to get him drafted 220th overall to the Boston Red Sox, obviously as a second baseman. His scouting reports for the draft consisted of people saying, "With virtually no power to speak of, I'll tell you what he is. He hits, he steals, he generates excitement, and it's just one of those things. You see a young player and sometimes you just know he's special." That's honestly where I'm going with this. Jarren Duran is a special player. Even though Duran got drafted in the 2018 draft, he still played 67 minor league games with the Red Sox in single-A baseball in 2018, and he was even better than he was in college, where he batted .357 with 11 triples and an over 900 OPS, with more power than he was expected to have coming out of the draft. Which is crazy because it was barely a few months after he was drafted. He was already somewhat proving some of his draft flaws wrong. And by 2019, Jarren Duran was the 10th best prospect in the Red Sox system. From a 7th round pick 10 months earlier to already being the 10th best prospect in the Red Sox system is a pretty impressive feat for the 22-year-old budding star. And throughout the first 2 months of 2019, it got even better. After a 4-hit afternoon on May 24th, Duran boosted his batting average to a minor league leading .422, and went on a 16-game hit streak. Duran was already outshining all expectations with the bat. However, his defense was less than what was expected. He was struggling in center field with the transition that he made from second base. Boston needed some outfield help, and they thought that moving the speedy Duran to center field early could help him become a good fielder, but we will talk more about that later. After that May 24th game, Duran's manager said, "Duran does not skip optional hitting workouts. Every at-bat is a personal battle between Duran and whoever is on the mound, and the 22-year-old has found more ways to win that battle as the season's gone on." The battle wasn't only on the baseball field for Jarren, but also in his own mind, as he had a deep struggle with mental health throughout college and his playing career up to this point. Duran said this is still something he currently manages. However, he's in a much better place now than he used to be. I'll get more into that later into the video. Duran ended up batting .303 after struggling a bit in the second half of the season. However, with 46 stolen bases on top of this and a move to the outfield, Duran had launched himself into the conversation for one of the best prospects within the Red Sox system. Duran clearly still needed some work on his power, however, since he hit just 8 home runs in his first 200 minor league games. But that would come up in the coming years. In 2020, like every other minor league baseball player, Duran was robbed of a season to improve his craft and get some at-bats, since there was no minor league baseball due to the pandemic. However, he still rose to the number 5 ranked prospect in the Red Sox system by the end of the year, and also ended 2020 by playing Puerto Rican Winter League baseball and won the championship with his squad, where he won the finals MVP for being the best player in the championship series. This was a good way for Duran to still get a few at-bats, even if minor league baseball was canceled. Going into 2021, Duran was looking good, but it got even better throughout that season. Duran's defense had gotten significantly better in the 2021 season, still below MLB average, but much better than where it was when he first got moved. However, that wasn't the biggest change in his game that season. The biggest change was his increase in power. Duran went from hitting 8 homers in 200 games throughout the first 2 seasons of his career to 16 homers in just 60 games in 2021. By the way, how does a man with the arm size that Duran has lack power when there are guys like Mookie Betts that hit 40 home runs in a season? Baseball is just a wild sport. Anyway, with the increasing defense and power, there was enough hype to have Duran called up to the Boston Red Sox, and he made his debut the day after on July 17th. He faced off against Garrett Cole in his first at-bat, and he ripped a single into center field for his first base knock in his first at-bat on the first pitch that he saw. He then scored after that first at-bat single. He also had an insanely electric play where he scored on a triple and an error against the Toronto Blue Jays, which absolutely could have been called an inside the park home run. Duran did struggle throughout his first taste of the bigs, but 2 days into his major league career, he hit his first home run, which came against Ross Stripling in the Blue Jays minor league stadium. Yep, Duran's first career home run came in a AAA stadium. I'm not sure how many players that's happened for, but it's gotta be an extremely low number. However, like I mentioned, Duran struggled in his first taste of Major League Baseball, batting just .221 and striking out almost 40% of his at-bats, which obviously was not sustainable. He was then optioned back to the AAA squad, but was later called back up due to injuries, but only played a few more games, which would end his true rookie season. Overall, Duran hit .215 with just 2 home runs and 2 stolen bases for an OPS plus of 53, meaning he was basically half as good as a league average player. But with just 112 plate appearances, this was a small sample size, and with his high prospect status, this would most likely not be the last we saw of Jarren Duran. Spoiler, it obviously wasn't. In 2022, things got worse for Jarren. Maybe not with the bat, however, on the defensive side of the ball and mentally, things really declined for the emerging outfielder. Duran was ranked the 84th best prospect going into the season. However, due to his inconsistency in both the majors and minors this season, he bounced back and forth between AAA and MLB all throughout the season. One of the biggest issues for Duran was a terrible defensive game that he had in Kansas City, misplaying a ball in both shallow and deep center field. After the misplay in deep center, Duran started jawing at a fan in the stands, and the camera caught the player, which obviously looked bad because, of course, he is the professional.
All of them were really out right out in the open, and then just last second they got in the sun, so it was kind of too late to call for help or anything, but I tried my best to put my hand up. You think that you're alone out there when stuff like that happens, and then you realize that other guys have done it. Like, they were just kind of telling me, like, it happens even though you think you're the only one that's ever happened to. Oh yeah, they just happened to be throwing like little bottle caps at me and stuff, so I was just telling them to stop throwing it, and then one of the ushers came over and just told them to stop. So dude just came over and just kind of patted me on the back and said, hey man, don't worry about it, like, we all have those days.
Whether this is the truth or not, it's hard to know, but let's just assume it is, because Duran is one of the nicest guys in baseball, so he was probably provoked. Now, this play that I've paused on the screen right now is the lowest point of his career. It just has to be. Raimel Tapia hit a deep fly ball, and Duran immediately lost the ball in the sky. He never recovered, and it landed behind him on the warning track. He just kind of watched the ball while it bounced around on the warning track, and Raimel Tapia rounded the bases for an inside the park home run. The biggest issue with this play was that it seemed like there was a lack of effort for the second-year outfielder. Duran was asked about this play after the game, and he responded by saying, "Doogie was right there already. Obviously, I should have taken a step or two, but he was already going to beat me to the ball, so I just didn't want to get in his way. What if I sprinted and collided with him or something like that?" Now, this answer is definitely something, but either way, it shows somewhat of a lack of effort. By the end of the season, Jarren was slightly better offensively with a 78 OPS plus, but he was still fairly far off from being even a league average hitter. And with the poor defense, things were looking bad for Jarren, and it was starting to affect him negatively even worse. Duran said in an interview in September 2022 that he was struggling mentally all season. "It's been pretty hard. I can't talk too much of it, but I've been pretty low this year. It's been a struggle to stay here. I'm kind of just tearing myself up internally and get pretty depressed and stuff like that. I find it hard to reach out to people because I don't want to bother other people with my problems. I kind of just build it up inside myself, which obviously makes things a lot worse." This is a good time to remind the viewers that are still watching this video that these players are human beings like you and I are. They have struggles, they have triumphs. However, when they do struggle, they are judged by literally tens of thousands of people on a daily basis. So they probably feel more alone than anybody else. Be nice to your team's players. Help bring more love and support into this world instead of hate. Support your players even if they make a mistake. They care about their play more than you do. With that being said, things were at the lowest possible point for Duran. His effort was being questioned, and so were his skills as a whole. However, Duran was over that crap. He was going to make sure that no one could ever question his effort again. Before the 2023 season, Red Sox manager Alex Cora thought it would be more important for Duran to have fun playing baseball again rather than being so stressed out. So he suggested Duran play for Team Mexico in the World Baseball Classic, which he did. Duran didn't even get a hit for Team Mexico. However, he was wearing sombreros in the dugout, and you could tell he was just having a good time with his teammates, which was extremely important for him going into the season. Unfortunately for Duran, he would lose another battle to Raimel Tapia, who was now a Boston Red Sox himself. As Tapia had an incredible spring training, Tapia then made the opening day roster over Duran, who was optioned to AAA once again. However, on April 17th, Adam Duvall got injured, and Duran was back up to replace him. This time, Duran took complete advantage of his opportunity, and he was electric with the Red Sox. He very quickly became one of the best players on the team and one of the most exciting players to watch in all of baseball. His otherworldly speed allowed him to turn almost every single into a double, and he was running wild, really just showing off his effort and his massive year-to-year maturing. He had played so well throughout the first month that he finally won a battle against Raimel Tapia, who got DFA'd instead of optioning Duran back to the minors. Duran had officially become a true piece of the Boston Red Sox success in 2023. Duran had also gotten much better defensively, mainly improving on his first step and using his speed to help track down balls in center field that not many others could get to. However, his biggest improvement was definitely with the bat. He cut the strikeout rate down from 10% in his rookie season, and because of the increased contact and speed, he just doubled like no one else. Duran hit 34 doubles in just 330 at-bats. Along with that, he stole 24 bases and only got caught twice. He also hit 8 home runs and batted .295, and his OPS plus jumped up to 122. So he was officially over 20% better than the league average hitter. Duran unfortunately hurt his toe with about a month remaining in the season, which would end his 2023 campaign. Duran was now becoming a fan favorite and a true weapon for the Red Sox, and it was so much fun to watch. And Duran admitted after the season he was having more fun. However, even with this massive success, he continued to have some mental struggles, which is extremely unfortunate. The emerging star was officially at the top of his game. However, he still didn't even feel good enough in his own shoes. 2023 was the best year of his young career, but he wasn't done there. Heading into 2024, there were many trade rumors surrounding the speedy outfielder, but in the end, the Red Sox held on to the young star, which was 100% the correct choice due to how he has performed throughout the first 2.5 months of the 2024 season. As of June 9th, Duran has started every single game for the Boston Red Sox, including all of them where he was the leadoff hitter. In a season where almost every team has dealt with injury after injury, a consistent player having every single game started at the leadoff spot is almost invaluable. Oh yeah, and he's not just playing every day, he's producing as well. Duran has easily become one of the best players at impacting the game in all three phases. He can win a game with his bat, his glove, and most importantly, his speed. He leads all of MLB in plate appearances to this point, and has more triples than like half of the teams in MLB with 10. His walk rate has also increased by almost 4%, and once again, he has 21 doubles and 17 stolen bases. According to Baseball Savant, he ranks in the top 12 for batting run value, meaning he's more valuable than 88% of MLB hitters so far. He's also top 1% in base running and top 9% in defensive run value, with top 6% in range because of his first step and speed on the field. Duran is continuing to get better and better, and he's becoming a fan favorite in Boston more and more by the day. However, because of terrible All-Star voting, he's not even a top 20 AL outfield vote getter, which is insane considering he's the 8th best player in all of baseball according to Baseball Reference's wins above replacement. The only better players so far are Aaron Judge, Gunnar Henderson, Juan Soto, Bobby Witt Jr., Ketel Marte, Mookie Betts, and Shohei Ohtani, who are all definitely superstars. So why isn't Duran respected more? The world will never know. However, he's on pace for around 50 doubles, 45 stolen bases, and 22 triples, all while playing Gold Glove caliber defense and having a very solid batting average and on-base percentage. So why isn't Duran respected more? The world will never know. I hope I spread my Jarren Duran narrative, but this guy is a major inspiration to people with mental health struggles, and I absolutely love watching this guy on the diamond. There is no one in baseball I root for more, and I will never stop. I hope you learned a little something about an underappreciated star.